Hey guys, Crazy Teacher Nick here again. There's a couple of hints, okay, on how you can improve your grades for the AS level 9093. Let's get started. Firstly, I want to say thank you to everybody from all around the world for all your comments. Okay, we're almost at 1,000 subs, which is just like mind-blowing for me. Okay, that we would have so many people watching the videos, sharing the videos. So big thank you to you guys. We're getting the message out there. And please, we're a community. Be supportive of each other. If you've got any ideas, drop them in the chat box. We'd love to hear your ideas, hints, tips, anything that you think could help all of us, okay, on this AS level English journey. Okay, so I'm talking to you guys very specifically about things that you need to know for both your paper 1 and your paper 2. Okay, and I've made some videos on the key conventions. I am hopefully going to get to make more. It just takes a lot of time to get these videos together, so I'm sorry guys. Okay, plus I've got my own students. So it's basically a very busy time, but I know that this is going to help you guys. So study your key conventions, whether it's for paper 1, okay, question 1A and B. You're going to need to know your key conventions, whether it's for textual analysis, whether it is for the longer writing in the paper 2, for that reflective commentary, and if you're going to be writing any of the non-fictional fiction texts in the questions 2, 3, or 4 of paper 2. You need to know your key conventions. The examiners want to know your key conventions, okay? And I would basically put together a table with all of the key conventions and highlight those similarities or differences. That is going to be really, really helpful in the comparative. But just knowing your key conventions is important, because if you know your key conventions, you know what devices you're looking for in the text. Okay, so by knowing what devices are there, whether it be for analysis, okay, or for where you're having to write your own texts, it's going to basically make your text stand out because you're using those devices, structural devices and language devices. They're going to be those devices that you know should be in that type of text. It makes it so much easier going into textual analysis, knowing what devices to look for. Okay, study your persuasive conventions or your persuasive devices. Okay, look at advisory texts. Advisory is where it's being very supportive. Think about the language, think about the text types. Discursive and argumentative, I've made videos on all of these. Okay, please check them out. They will help you in the exams. You must know these key conventions for all of these that are listed on the screen. Okay, please, I will be putting links down below where you can go and have a look at those key conventions. Study your key conventions like your times tables. You must know them like you know your own name. Hopefully you know your own names. Okay. My name is Crazy Teacher Nick, and the next thing you got to study is form. Everybody's like, what is form? How do I? Form, very simply, is basically showing your overall understanding of the text. So this could include your understanding of the context of the text. What is the main idea? Okay. Being able to identify the audience is going to be important, or the mood, the overall mood that is created in the text, or the overall tone that is created by the writer in the text. The purpose, to entertain, etc., that you need to keep in mind. It's just that general style, that general flavor, that feel of the text, and your key conventions are going to be part of your form. Language devices. Guys, know your language devices. There are hundreds of them out there. Study your language devices. Every day, take a list of 10 language devices, study them, Look for them in the different texts that you have available to you. Okay, look for them in on signboards, in newspapers, in magazines, in the texts that Cambridge send us. Okay, know your language devices, and more importantly, know the possible effects that these language devices can have. Okay, again, I'm going to be linking things down the bottom about the language devices. Look for your language. The language devices are vital. They're going to be the bulk of much of your text. Okay, whether it's analysis, whether it's creating devices, fill your text with those language devices. Structural devices. Okay, so generally there are going to be less structural devices in a text. Remember, the question asks you form, structure, and language. Okay, so a good way to look at it is to discuss form, okay, then discuss your structural devices, and then discuss your language devices. Okay, that's specifically an analysis, but if you're writing a piece of text, you want to fill that text with appropriate structural devices and appropriate language devices. Okay, take a note of them. Again, there will be information linked down below. Click on those links. Okay, have a look at those structural devices, study them, think about the possible effects that they might have on the reader. And that brings me to, within analysis, one of the massive mistakes that students make. Okay, you might know the point evidence explain, PEE, there's point quote explain, there's Peel, there's all sorts of ways of basically analyzing a piece of text. Okay, whatever you want to call it, make sure that it is clear to your examiner that they can see exactly what you're doing. So start off your paragraph with a point, identify the device that you're going to be discussing. Okay, evidence, give that language or that structural device that you're using to evidence your point. Okay, and the explain and the develop part. So the explain is, what is the device? What impact does that device have on the reader? Your reader is the most important person to be thinking about. You're the reader, okay? Or your audience is the reader. But the reader is how the device, whether it be language device or structural device, has had an impact on you. And this is tough. This is difficult. I'm not going to say that it's easy, because it's the way that you think. And if you can develop the idea, thinking about how does this device impact the reader, how does this device impact the text, but don't just write words. Okay, you're not getting marks for how many words you can write. Okay, keep it simple, keep it clear, keep it precise, keep it to the point. Which brings me to another thing that I see with a lot of students around the world, is students tend to want to summarize the text. Okay, your job is to analyze, don't summarize. Okay, summarizing is where you basically just take the ideas from the text and you just basically, well, you did this in GCSEs. Remember that horrible question 1F? A big piece of text and you made it smaller. That's a summary. The examiner has read the text, okay? We don't need to know the story. So don't just regurgitate the same ideas from the text and then present them in a more concise way. Analysis. To analyze, you must reach your own conclusions about the topic or the theory or the issue or the point, okay? And you need to create something that might not be evident at first glance. So you're looking at those implied ideas, those explicit ideas, and you're thinking about your audience, okay? The examiner has read the text. We don't need to know the story. When it comes to analysis, the examiner has not read your understanding of the text. How did you experience what effect the writer was trying to create through the use of those language and structural devices? Okay, and this was very possibly the same as the reader. this is probably the most important point that I want to make here. Okay? When you start your exam, you don't start the exam with 25 marks for the question, or 50 marks for the paper, or 100 marks for both papers. You start with 0. Okay? We don't minus marks, okay, for doing something wrong. What we are looking for is basically your understanding. So you must add value to your exams. Okay? If it's the writing exam, if it's the reading exam, each sentence you must write must add value to the text. It must show the examiner your understanding of how writers create effect to have an impact on the reader. That is what you're constantly focused on. Whether it's analysis or even in your own writing, you want to make sure that every sentence is adding value. If it's analysis, your analysis, every sentence you write is adding value, is something new that the examiner doesn't know. Okay? So by using language devices, structural devices in your writing, okay, that is where your marks grow, because you're showing the examiner, hey, look, I can use these devices effectively. So cram your text full of devices, okay, and make sure that they're used correctly, okay? And the best thing that teacher Adna always says in all of her videos, okay, is be precise. Be precise, okay? So that is basically the best advice. Think of it as, I'm starting this exam with 0 and I need to add value. So everything I'm going to write here is going to show the examiner all of my knowledge. All of my knowledge. Okay? So this is where your key conventions, form, structure, device, doesn't matter which question you're doing, all of these are going to be important. Okay, guys, we're almost at 1,000 subs. Okay, good luck with your exams. You guys are going to be absolutely awesome. Okay, and guys, if you've got any questions about anything specific, I'll try and get to them. I know I owe you a couple of videos on some of the conventions, but go through the videos, go through some of the videos that I suggest to you.